Verse 5 says, Then Boaz said to his servant, who was in charge of the reapers, Whose young woman is this? Now, this is the first verse to include both Boaz and Ruth together. Earlier, Boaz was described as a man of great wealth, which is the Hebrew word chayil. I noted that that word indicated not just material wealth, but riches in all ways. However, he was lacking a wife. So the question is, what kind of man was Boaz before he was married? Anybody? He was ruthless. Ruthless. That will now soon change. In this verse is found the second meaning of Ruth's name. As we saw in chapter 1, her name can either mean friend or companion or beauty or looker. It depends on the root word used to determine the end result. The uncertainty means that it is probably a play on both words. The fulfillment of the first half of her name was when she clung to Naomi as a permanent friend and companion, vowing never to leave her except by death. The fulfillment of the second meaning of her name is seen as Boaz notices her amongst the other workers, indicating her beauty, which was noticeable. She is a looker. Because of the eye which is alighted on this radiant beauty, Boaz tactfully went up to his servant who was in charge of the reapers. The word for this guy is hanitzav. He's the one standing. While the others are bending over the sickle downing the grain, he is standing over them in superintendence. It is to him who Boaz goes with his question. It shows a propriety in his demeanor which he does not want tarnished by just asking anyone. He's being careful about his eyes, and he's trusting in his chief reaper to maintain his decorum, something he may not get from one of the subordinate reapers. And his question is, Lemi hana'ara hazot. It is not who is that young woman. Instead, it is whose young woman is this. Even to his servant in charge, he's being careful with his words. To ask who is that young woman would show a direct and personal interest in her, and perhaps she's already taken. Rather, he asked who she belongs to. Whose young woman is this? To whom does she belong? What family does she belong to? Whose daughter is she? Whose, oh, perish the thought, whose wife is she? This young woman has beauty, which has caught his eye. She handles herself in a dignified way rather than a pauper or a beggar, and she's diligently about her business rather than idly talking and only half-heartedly working. Boaz sees her, and no doubt the strings of his heart are pulled, and we're going to see that as we continue through the book of Ruth. Verse 6, So the servant who was in charge of the reapers answered,